Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing the third part of our draft series. We have two more coming up after this, so make sure you guys like and subscribe for that. As you can see by the title, we are doing the South, both AFC and NFC, so make sure you guys like and subscribe, and yeah, let's get started. And I have the first pick. Now, Jeremiah Love ended up going at 3, so that's not the most ideal situation, but that gives us Sonny Styles. If I wanted to choose him, I could go Bane. I could go for pretty much anyone here in this spot. And you know what? Let's change it up a bit. I'm not sure of the Titans linebacking room. But I think Sonny Styles in Tennessee is something we haven't seen a lot in this mock offseason. And I think it'd be pretty nice. So I'll draft Sonny Styles here.
Okay, so the Saints. Oh boy. So they need guard could be something here. I know Vega has been going higher and higher in a lot of mocks, but I think Cardell Tate is pretty much a slam dunk pick. I don't think I need say much more.
Fair.
And another awkward. Well, this one's really awkward. The Bucks at 15 are really awkward because their needs and who's actually going to be here. Rough. You'd agree with that, wouldn't you? Well, actually, you know what? The boards actually fell favorably. I'm gonna take Vega here. Slot into that right guard spot immediately, and we're back. Man, why do I have some? Oh, damn! The AFC South was really bad. Yeah. Daniel McNeil-Warren. I don't think you have to say much more.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in, starts at the safety spot immediately for you, and he's exactly what you need because you don't want to be watching Nick Scott for another season. Or is it Nick Cross?
All right, so I'll go over each of your picks real quick just so we can get more time into the podcast, just talk about it. 8 with Cardell Tate, you can take Caleb Downs, you can take Delane, you can take Feynman, McCoy, Sadiq, you can take anyone here, so I don't really mind the Tate pick, especially considering the fact that Olave has concussion issues, so it makes sense. Next, 15, I'm lower on Ione because he does have run blocking issues, but like as a pass blocker, he's really good. Run blocking needs a lot of work. He does have a tendency to lunge at people, and he's also more on the stiffer side of things. Somebody I would happily take Ione at day 2, but I don't like him at round 1. But that's just my personal opinion. And then Daniel McNeil-Warren, I don't hate it at all. Carolina can use some more secondary help, and I think he's a good player, so I think that works just fine. Now, at 28, Texans need offensive line, and look who's on the board. Actually, you know what? Let me check their DTs real quick. Togai's good. Not sure who their other starter is. And
Sheldon Rankins, I believe it should be.
Yeah, they could use that, but they could also use tackle. Actually, they do need a. Yeah, they do. Who would I feel more confident taking in round 2? You know what? You know what? I'm gonna skip on Caden Proctor here, and I'm gonna go take a round 2 tackle later because I think it makes the most sense for the Texans in this situation. And they're only 6 picks away, so they're gonna get their pick of tackle regardless. So yeah, that makes sense. So I'm just gonna take the best DT on the board because they do need defensive line help, and Cade McDonald would be perfect for that. I think him, Daniil Hunter, and Will Anderson would be crazy, especially with McDonald continuing to develop as a great nose tackle. So I think that makes perfect sense here. Next, we have the Titans with their second round pick, and this is just the best player available in any need they possibly want. And I think, given what's available right now, I'm going to switch it up a little bit and not take a receiver here. I'm going to take Brandon Cisse out of South Carolina. I think he can go round 1 pretty easily as a corner, and I think me mocking a wide receiver to the Titans would just be flat out lazy. So I'm just going to go Brandon Cisse here.
And you could get a starting guard in day 3?
Yeah, I have 2 names in mind already for that. 100%. I think the Titans have a 3rd round pick if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's definitely guards in this draft they can go get later on. I don't have Pregnon rated that high. I don't have Vasanis rated that high, so I would much rather take those later, or take someone like Bo Stevens or Jalen Farmer, somebody like that. So, and now with the next pick, oh fucking hell, why did Kaden Proctor have to go to Kansas City? Never mind. Anyway, so the Texans. Excuse me. So the Texans do lose out on the 4 tackles, but I think they can get someone a little bit later, so it's fine. So looking at their needs right now, Jadarian Price is on the board. Sam Heck is on the board, although I wouldn't take him this high. Yeah, honestly, let's take Jadarian Price here. I think it'd make the most sense considering their running back room. Obviously, they have Woody Marks and J.R. Jordan and David Montgomery, but they can use a little bit more depth in that running back room, and I think Jadarian Price would be perfect for that.
Right here with the Saints. I think defense is the obvious way to go. You're losing, oh my gosh, Cam Jordan. Well, he's still in free agency. You still could bring him back. I have no idea what's happening there, but I'm going to bring in Malachi Lawrence out of UCF to slot in at that opposite side of the edge, on the opposite edge of Chase Young. I think he's a guy who can help you immediately, and he's good value here at 42. And back with the Bucks. Ooh, okay. So I think you could go three different ways here. You could go tight end, you could go interior D line, you could go edge. You can also go linebacker. And yeah, I'm gonna go linebacker. I'm gonna go Jacob Rodriguez. You lost Levante David to retirement, and I think given that Rodriguez is just a fucking monster in every way game. He's a great run defender. He's a great pass. I think he's really good in the passing game. He's gonna get turnovers. He's in both the passing game and the run game. He's a really smart player. I think this guy who could go day one. And if you're getting him at 46, I think that's all the more better. Fits your needs. Exactly what you need at linebacker, and great value pick.
I think if I remember correctly, let me check real quick, because I was watching a mock draft with franchise guy, EJ Snyder and Brett Coleman, and I think they had Jacob Rodriguez going 15. If I'm not mistaken.
They took him at 19 to the Panthers.
Oh yeah, that's because they took David Bailey. Never mind. That
mainly because there was really no one else there for them. But I do think it's possible to see him go that high in real life. There's a good chance that he's linebacker 3 for most teams, for a good amount of teams.
I think that's fair. I also think that what do you call it? There's some linebackers I would prefer over him in day one, but it makes sense. And mine are would get fucking murdered, so I'm not going to say it. But back to your picks. Malachi Lawrence, he is decent. I could see him going this high if edge goes off really quickly. And then Jacob, I think that makes sense since day 2. I think that's fair. So now at 47, unfortunately, I cannot take Ty Simpson here. I kind of would have liked him at this spot, but it is what it is. So, excuse me. The Colts, they have a need at safety, they have a need at linebacker, and they have a need at D-line. And I'm going to go with someone I haven't taken in this series yet, Lee Hunter. He's one of the most unathletic DTs in this class, but he's really fundamentally sound, and he'll be a solid DT throughout his career. And I think that's what the Colts need, just more solid players. There's there are standout players on the board, but I don't think they fit what the Colts need. Actually, they might have a slight need at receiver because they only have Pearson Downs. You know what? Scratch what I said about D-line. I'm actually going to take Chris Brazzell here, who can be a 1. Obviously, he would clash with Pierce.
Really?
I mean, who's their wide receiver 3? Treadwell, Westbrook Ikine, Panko, Owen, Gold, Doolin, who?
Your wide receiver 3 is your tight end 1. We're talking about just pass catchers. It'd be very obviously be.
Now, obviously Warren. All right, then the guy after that, who is it?
Oh, Ali Cox. Stop playing with him.
All right. Do I say fuck it and just go ballistic?
I think I genuinely think there are much bigger needs for them.
That's true.
So taking Rodriguez did put you in a pretty tight spot.
Now I can take linebacker for them later. I'm not worried about that. So, fuck it. I'll be safe. I'll go Lee Hunter. Fine. I'll be safe. I'll be realistic. Did this thing fucking? Hold on. Fuck. Hold on. There you go. All right.
All right, the Falcons. If your tackle retiring, you'd think, well, you would have hoped that your pick, you didn't trade your first round pick last year, and you probably would have took a tackle at 13. Though here at 48, most of the guys who are worth a top 50 pick are gone. They're all gone. I don't think Jennings Dunker is first round talent. I mean, top 50. But one big need that there's a hell of a lot of top 50 guys corner, and you just choose who you want. Chris Johnson, Keith Abney, Keontae Scott, Tre'Dan Stukes. You know, Devin Moore has injury concerns, but he's another guy who could go really high. Will Lee. I'm gonna go ahead and take. This is really hard. I think they do need a guy who can play on the outside. And yeah, I think Chris Johnson is your best bet there. A guy who can play on the outside for you. I think Scott and Stukes are most likely going to be nickels, maybe even put a safety in the league. Whereas Chris Johnson, I do feel like will be comfortably put in on the outside and do very well. I do know you have your reserves about Chris Johnson. Now back with the Panthers. I do think the board has actually fell quite nicely for them. And I'm going to go ahead and take... I know you hate him. You absolutely hate him.
Oh, God.
Eli Stowers here.
Oh.
Carolina Panthers. He is a freak athlete. I know he's not what you want he's not an inline tight end. This is not a guy you're putting in the inline. No. This is a guy you're putting in as a power slot. He's going to be your chain mover. He's going to be a reliable target for Bryce Young, and getting him in the second round, pick 51 outside of the top 50. You scratch off two things: a reliable playmaker for him over the middle, and tight end, which is, in my opinion, a pretty big need for them. And yes, I do know he's not the best of blockers.
All right,
but run with it.
All right, I apologize if I hurt your ego for a sec, because I'm not going to say anything nice about these two picks. First of all, with Chris Johnson, when you watch him move, he is not only one of the stiffer and smaller guys, he just looks like he doesn't belong on the field. Like, at the combine, I remember watching him, along with the rest of the corners. It looks so fucking obvious he was out of place. I don't know why anyone mocks him in the first round whatsoever. I don't know why people mock him day two, to be honest. To me, he's more of like a mid to late day 3 corner, if I'm going to be honest. And I just do not like him at all. I don't think he will be a starter at the NFL level, and whoever takes him this high is going to whiff. Because I know the Seahawks, I think they have an early day 3 grade on him. So, I mean, I don't see why he would go this high to begin with. And then with Stowers, he was the third best blocking tight end on his own team, which is obviously a concern. But it's not only just that. Like, even as a receiver, like, he doesn't provide like that much to what you would get out of a normal power slot receiver to begin with. So that's why I am a bit more wary of him than other tight ends of his class, like Oscar Delp. So I think overall, it makes sense. I can see why people are intrigued with him. I'm just not into him personally. Now, with 56, who can we do? Basanis, Bernard. Also, how the fuck did Chris Brazzell get on the Eagles? Jesus. Besides the point, I could take Rutledge here. That would be the highest I've taken them. D-line, Grayson Holton, Orange. Safety, Smith, Halsey. You know, you know what? You know what? They need interior offensive line help, and from the last time I checked, they could use. Yeah, they definitely need a guard here. You know what? Let's just take Keelan Rutledge here. It might be a little bit too early, but they need offensive, like specifically interior offensive line help desperately badly, and I think Keelan Rutledge would make sense here in this position. All right, back on the clock with the Texans with their other second round pick, and they also need interior offensive line help, like every other team in the NFL seems. So, do I overdraft or do I wait? Actually, I can't wait a bit, so I'm gonna just go BPA here, and Bryce Lance could be a potential low end number one. I think he's really good, and I think it makes sense here. So why not? You know what? Let's just add receivers to the room when there's really nothing else you can do, and you can wait for guard at a later date.
Or you could have taken. Oh wait, you did take Jadarian Price.
Yep, I took that earlier.
Still.
Excuse me. Now, with the Titans, they just need everybody. And I don't know if he fits their style of running back, the Titans, but I think Mike Washington might make the most sense here. There's still wide receivers you can get in the fourth round that I think that could be there, like Ted Hurst potentially. So I'm willing to take that chance. And also Brennan Thompson. But the reason why I say Mike Washington isn't their type of running back is because he's more of a bigger type, because they prefer guys like a little bit on the small end. And also he's a bit stiff. He's more of a one-cut guy, but he's really good at doing that. And I think Mike Washington can be a really good running back in the league for a very long time. And truth be told, Cam Ward needs weapons. And now with the Texans, now I will take the guard, and now I will take Jalen Farmer since he's the last one that's reasonably going to go in this range off the board.
Right, back with the Saints. No, what? Would you say the Saints? Yeah, actually, I'm gonna continue taking corners off the board. I'm gonna go get the big body Devin Moore out of Florida. They desperately need corner. Desperately need corner. Their best corner is Kool-Aid McKinstry. And then the other names on this team: Quincy Riley, John Wright, Isaac Yidam, Ellis Beanham, Beanie Bishop, Aiden Price. You need corners badly. And more. He's going to play on the outside for you.
Before you continue, I was about to say, are you going to ask me should the Saints take a punter or not? I was about to say, there's no way you're going to ask me that. But.
No. I was going to ask, how would you like? Do you think center would have made sense there?
Heck, honestly, I wouldn't have been mad if you took in Heck, Slaughter, Jones, or Gordon, or Lou as well. You had like 5 on the board. Like that's not. Yeah, like that's like 5 like round 2, like late day 2, early day 3 centers that could be starters for you right away. So I wouldn't have been mad if you took in any of them.
So look at what the CPU did. Allard and then Nussmeier back to back. Look, those could be real picks. Of course, it had
to be Miami and Pittsburgh too. There was no other way that was not going to work. Continue.
Well, for the Buccaneers here again at 77, I think the ball has continued to fall in their favor. I'm going to go with a guy who hasn't been talked about as much, given how his season went and how Penn State's season went as a whole. Danny Denise Sutton. I think he fits their style of edge rusher. Super athletic. I know he's not the biggest dude, but he is still 6'6", 256. He had really wasn't the best of years for him, but in all honesty, it wasn't the best of years for Penn State. His head coach got fired. His defensive playmaker got fired. So production, I don't think is truly representative of how good of a player he can be. But if you look at the years prior, this is a dude who was being mocked in the first round. So I'm going to take Danny Denise Sutton for the Bucks.
All right, so where do you only took? Okay, all right, Devin Moore. I'm not mad about at all. I think that's fine. I think he's a solid corner. Sutton, I think this is appropriate range for him. The first round height was a bit overblown, but he can be a solid edge in the NFL. He's just not the freak athlete everybody talks about he is, and I think that's okay. And
I think he's a great athlete. Freak athlete. I think he's
athlete, or are we talking football athlete?
No, just a general athlete. I think he's a great athlete.
I think
he's a great football athlete. I'm the greatest. I just think he's a great athlete, and I do think that is the Bucs style of edge.
When I watch him, I just don't see the athlete in him. In all honesty, I just don't. Like, I don't see the athlete in him. And that's no disrespect to him. He's going to be an NFL player for at least 5 years. But, like, people saying he's, like, a great freak athlete when, like, that doesn't really translate onto the football field, that does concern me a bit. So I'll leave it at that. Now, with the Colts, let me check their outside linebacker room, because I think we have a really good fit here at 78. So let me check their outside linebacker depth real quick to make sure.
I see one.
Who do they have? They have Austin Ejak. I've never heard of him in my life. So yeah, they could use some linebacking depth. I like this guy a lot more than others, and I think if he is like at 225 or something, he would be a great linebacker, like a good outside linebacker for them. And that's gonna be Romello Height. I think because he is a little bit on the smaller side and he can bring in pass rush juice, he could be a good outside linebacker for them, and this is just total projection. But I think they do need more pass rush help, and I think Romello Height would make sense here.
I gotta agree with you. I think you could have flipped those picks and they would have been good for both teams. Now, Falcons, once again, you really need tackle. I'm gonna screw you over, and I'm gonna take the most interesting developmental tackle in this class that's not named Caden Proctor. I'm gonna take Markel Bell here for Falcons.
All right, that's fair. I do have 2 names left over though, so it's not the worst. With my next pick, actually, yeah, you know what? I can save on that. They have 3 second-round picks. Fuck me, 3 third-round picks. Excuse me. Before we move forward, considering what the Jaguars have, I would not be surprised if they trade up in the first round, late first round specifically. Like, they have the capital, I feel like, to do it. They have 3 third-round picks and they have a second-round pick. Like, they can definitely make something work if they really desperately wanted somebody. I think they can probably pull that off.
Who would that be for?
It would have to be probably D-line or safety. Or if they love Ione and he falls, maybe him or Basanis.
There's literally a great D lineman staring at you right in the face.
Are you talking Dominique Orange?
Yes.
I would not mind taking him right here, but I think Kaden McDonald, like, obviously I'm going to take him. I think that makes most sense. But, like, in terms of, like, trade talks, like, I can see them easily trading up in the first round to go get Kaden McDonald, quite honestly. Or Peter Woods, whoever their preference is.
It depends on where McDonald's range is. If he's like,
honestly,
okay,
I
let's
think
say
his range might be top 10 to, like, late first round. Like, I don't know, like, who's going to take him, but it's a pretty wild one. Because he is so raw, but he's so talented. So it's like, what gives at that point, if that makes sense. But
I don't know how early he goes, but from what I've seen, he's probably gonna go late first. So In all honesty, ideally you'd want to start a possible trade at like 28, but that's your division rival. They're gonna price you out on that. 29, the Chiefs would love to have Caden McDonald, so no, that's a no there. If he falls to 30, maybe the Dolphins think about moving out of that spot. Depending on who's there. Yeah. There's no wide receivers they like, and if there's no wide receivers they like, and they already took a corner at 11, there's no safeties, no DBs or edges they like there. Could be a chance they trade out of that spot.
Yeah, that's fair. And we'll find out on a draft day on our live stream, on my personal live stream that will be on the VOD uploaded to the YouTube channel. So make sure you go check that out. But yeah, I'll take Dominique Orange here.
Cool. Carolina Panthers. Another team who needs your D-line help, and Dominique Orange would have been the pick here if he had stayed. I don't think. Oh, actually, yes. Kyle Lewis. I think Kyle Lewis would be really fun to fit next to Devin Lloyd.
Ooh.
I know he's that safety linebacker hybrid, but he has the athleticism. He has the speed to play side to side, sideline to sideline guy.
I do not like Kyle Lewis. I will throw that out there. Probably like the 10th time we've already mentioned this. But with him, he's very small, but that's not like the deal breaker for me. It's just the fact like the only thing he really has, as you talked about, is that speed, and everything else, like from a football fundamental perspective, it just does not go well, right? Watch the Notre Dame game. If you have all 22 tape, watch the Notre Dame game, and you'll see like right away, like yeah, he's clearly out of place, and he shouldn't be like on this football field whatsoever. Like that's how bad it was against Notre Dame, and so I don't know if it's like a Pittsburgh coaching issue, but he did not play well in that game whatsoever. So I'll just
bad game.
I'll watch. Trust me. I'll watch more for the draft, and if you draft him again, I'll talk about him again. But with this pick, you still have 4 top centers on the board, and I think out of all of them, Sam Hecht is the best one on the board, and plus I can wait to get safety at a later pick, so I'll take Sam Hecht here. And now we're here at 100 again, and they took my damn guy. Fuck. You know what? Yeah, let's just.
You were gonna take Smith.
Yeah. You know what? Let's take Zakee White. Let's take Zakee White. Not Wheatley. Fuck. Let's just take him. He's the best remaining safety on like in the range that Smith and Wheatley are in. And now we're with the Titans at 401, and they do need a center need as well. And Logan Jolts falls into their lap, so I think that makes sense here. Texans. No, I am not taking Jonah Coleman. He is way too fucking slow. Yeah, this is just another center pick, and Yager Burden is the last of the good centers on the board, and I think it makes sense here. All right, is there any quarterbacks I can overdraft? Cade Klubnik, I don't think I'll do that. Linebacker. There's Keyshawn Elliott, Deontay Lawson. Okay. You know what? Let's overdraft QB here. I haven't done it yet in this series. Even though he may have a noodle arm, he does do other things well. I'll take Cade Klubnik. Decent athlete, not the strongest arm, not the highest potential to grow, but can be a solid backup, and that's what you're asking for out of this pick.
The Colts are fine on just a solid backup quarterback with, oh my gosh, Notre Dame. What's his name? Riley Leonard. I think Riley Leonard was actually quite decent when he did get in at the end of the year. So, and you have Richardson, you have Daniel Jones. Their QB room is weird, but in all honesty, I don't think
someone's getting removed from that room. I don't know who, so
I don't think Cade Klubnik would be better than any of those.
I don't think he would be better, but I think there'd just be like the case of scenario, like if you trade one of them just take a mid-round QB and hope you can get a pick back for him. That's just kind of the logic.
All right, so the Falcons. When you look at that wide receiver room, and let's say, Drake London's down, you're staring down a barrel of your wide receiver one being Olamide Zaccheaus or Casey Washington. So you need help at wide receiver. And it's really just, who would you want here? You have CJ Daniels, you have Jacoby Lane, you have Eric McAllister, Reggie Virgil. I think these four guys are these guys are really similar. They're deep threats. They're guys who will beat you over the top down the field. And I'm gonna go with, damn, it really is just picking poison. The same poison.
Wait.
Honestly, I don't know where to go here. Do you think Jeff Cadwell could end up in the 4th round? Is that too high?
I'm not
No, he's
sure.
been a
I
late riser.
I watched a little bit of his tape. Obviously, like, you can see the height, you can see the speed on tape, clearly the guy can move. Do I think he's a route runner at this point? No. I don't know what you're gonna get out of him, to be honest, because I haven't watched as much of him as other prospects. So if you wanted a project receiver in the 4th round, that just depends on where you think the value is for that.
And I really wish Cyrus Allen had his stats. I'm gonna talk to Cap about that, but I think I'm gonna go Cyrus Allen. He was really reliable for Cincinnati this year. He had 10 touchdowns for them, and really just getting receiver depth for Atlanta is going to be super important, especially if you get a single injury to either Drake London or Kyle Pitts. You're staring down the barrel of nothingness at pass catcher past those two. So, Bucks, what can we do here? And I know exactly what we're doing here. Justin Jolly, tight end out of NC State. Panthers. Oh, we really like that. Line. You have 3 guys here who I think they like. Well, I think Landon Robinson is underrated. I know you don't like Xavier Harris, mainly due to character concerns. The dude is massive. 6'8", 330. Damn. But I'm going to go ahead and take Caleb Proctor. He is a FCS guy, but he's been rising up boards. There's a chance he might not even make it to day 3. And I think he can fit really well there for the Panthers.
All right. I do want to apologize to you because I think you forgot a certain tight end. Did you forget about Oscar Delp being on the board?
Didn't forget that. I've already taken Oscar Delp. I want to take someone else in drafts.
Okay, fair. I thought you had an agenda for him. Yeah, I'll take Oscar Delp here. Jaguars do need a receiver friend in that room, and I think Oscar Delp would make sense.
New Orleans. I have not taken guard here, but there is a very interesting prospect in Jude Bowery. I don't think draft him with the intent of turning him into a guard.
You can play.
He's another. Yeah, but you don't need him at tackle, given that your tackle is set with Kelvin Banks and Taliesin Fuaga. So you can bring him in immediately and play him at guard, or develop him to play at guard.
That's fair.
Since you already have your tackles.
That's fair.
And back with another pick, I am going to continue to keep in this wide receiver room. There is 11 players here, damn. you look at this wide receiver room. We did add Carnell Tate, so let's just say Chris Olave, Carnell Tate. Then you have Jalen Polk. You have Devon Vele. And then that's Trey Palmer. And after that, it's guys. it's names. Linebacker definitely could be a possibility here. You have Caleb Arms, or you have Torrin York, another smaller guy. Aiden Fisher, though. That's tempting. But I'm going to stick with what I said earlier. I'm going to deepen this wide receiver room, and I'm going to go Reggie Virgil out of Texas Tech. Target he is your guy down the field. He's going to be that down the field guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be that down the field guy for you at a 27% deep target rate.
Okay, you can't search by college. That's cool. All right, so I'm going to take someone here that has been rarely discussed, and that's Jeremiah Wright of Auburn. Now, I think I may be wrong, but he did play defensive line earlier in his college career, and then he got converted over to the offensive side of the ball. He's very much a project, but could turn into a starting guard. And quite honestly, this draft for the Titans about offense is about offense, and he's the best offensive piece available on the board for what they want to do. So I'll go with Jeremiah right here. And they get another pick in the 5th round. And looking at the board, is there any just day 3 edges that I could take?
All of them.
Yeah,
that's all that's left.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to just take a random day 3 edge because I do not know this group well enough. Actually, no, never mind. He's on the board. You know what? I'm going to take Zach Durfee out of Washington. He's a good looper, good stun person, just overall solid edge, and the fact that he's on the board is a win for the Titans, so I'll go with Zach Durfee here in this situation.
With the Saints, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna Albert Regis here to deepen that D line room. Tampa Bay. This has been a really kind draft to Tampa Bay, I must say, and I think this draft will continue to be kind to you, as you probably have 2 guys here at corner. I'd be comfortable taking Isaac and Hezekiah Masses. And I'm going to go with the bigger bodied Ephesians Prysock out of Washington, 6'3", 96.
Epic name. So with the Colts, linebacker and safety, you know what? I'm just going to overdraft the guys I like. Now, everybody knows I'm probably going to draft him every single episode. Kendall Daniels, he may have ran a 4.79 40 or whatever the fuck it was. They got the combine numbers wrong for him. But I don't really care. I think he's a really good linebacker and will be a good linebacker for at least 5 years in the NFL. So I'll just take him here. Big nickel type of guy.
Carolina. Need more edge for help. Day Tucker is still sitting here. Had 9 sacks this past season for Western Michigan. Just get more depth in that edge room. Panthers back on the clock. I think wide receiver is definitely something you think about. Still say, with them. I'm gonna go wide receiver. I'm gonna go Caleb Douglas out of Texas Tech. Actually, no. I'm gonna do that. I don't know what to do here, actually.
Shall I pick on behalf of you?
I'm confident that Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks, especially, will be healthy this year. don't like AJ Dillon. I think Trevor Etienne is fine as your third back. So I don't think running back is something you're really considering here.
You could do it. It's a 50-50.
Could. You have guys here. You have Seth McGowan out of Kentucky. You have Emmett Johnson, Nick Singleton. Moss got a medical flag from what I've heard. Patron Allen. Jaden Ott is weird because he was amazing for Cal. And then at Oklahoma, that whole running back room just got terrible. But I don't think that was really a player issue. I think that was a coaching issue for Oklahoma at the running back position because they had nothing the entire season. Eli Heidenreich, Keelan Black, Jamari Taylor. Really just pick whoever you want. What? I'm gonna throw a curveball. Josh Cameron out of Baylor, the wide receiver.
I have not watched him, so I cannot comment. With the next pick, you've let me have my choice of running backs, so I'll just take Jamari Taylor here and stack up the running back room, especially after they lost Trevor Etienne. I believe that's how you pronounce it. So, and now Jacksonville's back on the clock. They got no, this is their last 5th round pick. They have 37th round picks, so I'll fly by them quickly. But they do need a linebacker, considering the fact that Devin Lloyd left for Carolina, and I think Jaden Duggar is the best one left on the board. So again, I take him again. I know I'm a massive Jaden Duggar fan, and I drafted way too much, but I think it makes perfect sense here. All right, Houston now has the pick, and I've taken all their needs. Who do I take? You know what? Let's take a tight end. Let's just take Josh Cuevas, because why not?
Back on the clock with New Orleans. Back? No. Still have Alvin Kamara. Do you think he makes it? Do you think he stays on the team the entire year?
I have no idea.
Me neither, but you bring in Etienne. Is he really going by Etienne?
I believe so, yes.
Really?
Yeah, I think he talked about how his name is pronounced. I probably pull if you're watching the video, I'll pull up the way he pronounces his name of him saying it at the press conference, because I know he did talk about that.
You have Travis, you have Kendre Miller, you have Alvin Kamara as your 3 backs. I don't think you waste a pick on quarterback here. I'm going to go the linebacker. I'm going to go take Trey Moore out of Texas. This is a guy you brought in from UTSA to be an edge. That's not what happened throughout the season. I think due to injuries, they decided to move him to off-ball linebacker, and he actually played pretty solid for them throughout the season, even though that's not what they actually brought him in the year prior for. But yeah, Trey Moore out of Texas to deepen up that linebacker room.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, actually, considering the fact that Etienne is from I think he's from New Orleans. Actually, it makes sense why his or Louisiana specifically, why his name is fucking. I think it's French influence, so it makes a fuck ton of sense. With the next pick, with Tennessee, they need a receiver, and you know what? Let's take a guy who can probably play running back, receiver, just do a little bit of everything. Xavier Thomas out of LSU. I think he can play basically. He can play running back and he can play receiver just fine. And I think it'd make perfect sense for him, just as a gadget guy, just somebody you give a few touches a game to, help take the load off everybody else.
All right, last pick for the Saints. There you go, best player available, and I'm actually going to go ahead and take a tight end. I'm going to take John Michael Glenberger, Borg out of Wyoming. I had a small conversation with Grim yesterday, and he really likes Glenborg.
Fair. Have I taken the tight end for? No, I've not taken the tight end. They have Gunnar Helm, but you know what? Let's add to the tight end room. Joe Royer's on the board. He might be 24, but I don't really care. The Titans, again, the goal of this draft is to get offensive talent for Cam Ward to play with, and I think Joe Royer would make the most sense here.
All right, back at it with the Bucks. After losing Rashad White to free agency, I think getting more running back depth next to Bucky Irving and Kenneth Gainwell makes sense. And you have a plethora of choices, but I'm gonna go with Navy's Eli Heidenreich. He could go higher than this. He could definitely go higher than 195. It's going to be weird to hear that there's a Navy running back who's a good receiving back. I'm going to continue with for help offensively, and I'm going to take Annie's Cooper.
Hey, let's go
out of Miami to see if he can win if he can win a guard spot, or he transition to center. If that's a thought that you have. Carolina Panthers, their last pick. Eden Fisher's on the board. I don't really think you overthink this.
All right. Now, with my next pick, what is the? Oh yeah, they have Walker Little. They have Anton Harrison. All right. They could use a swing. They do they? I mean, they could. So who cares? You know what? He may have ran a 5.6 40, but I don't really care. I still have Mil Lave. I hope he makes it to the NFL because I think he's really talented. And I think if he does come to camp in shape, he will get a roster spot easily. So I think James Mil Lave makes sense here.
He ran a 5.6?
Yes, he did.
How big is he?
What?
How heavy is he?
I think. Let me check. I think he was like 320. It's weird. I don't know why. James Milolave Draft Scout. I just want to make sure because I know they finally had his pro day up. I've been looking for his pro day for like the last 20 minutes. The site's down. Fucking Christ. He was. Last time I checked, he was 320. So yeah, he should be. But I mean, if that's just tested numbers and he ends up playing well, I don't think anyone will worry about that 5.6.
You are the Colts.
Oh yeah, I forgot I was on the clock. Damn it, I thought you were on the clock. With this pick, let's just take a linebacker. And you know what? I think it's fair to take a shot on Harold Perkins and just see what the fuck happens at this point. All right, next with the Titans at 225. We can pretty much take anyone we want. And I know you like Cole Wisniewski, so you know what? I'll take him because of you.
Okay, well, I think the tight end room is cool, but you took Justin Jolly here. One thing that you surprisingly kind of need is more wide receiver depth with Mike Evans gone. So, you know what? I'm going to take a big body wide receiver to hopefully have any type of chance at replicating anything Mike Evans did, but at 6'5", 218, running a 4.49 40, Kobe Young could be something. It's definitely a developmental piece.
Imagine if he just turns into Mike Evans just because you said that.
I don't know about that. Like, he's interesting and Atlanta, their last pick. Yeah, I'm going to go with in Atlanta. I'm going to go with the Georgia Tech defensive lineman Jordan Vanderberg. He needs a lot of work, but like he can be really, really good. He makes so many. He make the plays he makes just happen because he just rolls with it. He doesn't really know. I'm gonna ad lib off of what I've been told by a friend who goes to Georgia Tech and people who've watched him. He kind of doesn't really know what he's doing, but it still works because he's just so freakishly athletic. And also, he's a developmental piece. He's a very, very, very developmental piece. But he can be a gem. He'll really be a gem for you.
That makes a lot of sense. Now I have seven round picks to go through. So let's fire away at each
7.
one. Yeah, three from Jacksonville. One from Texans, two from Colts, so 6, but I had 7 in total, so I have 6 more to go. So
yeah, my draft is done.
So yeah, I'm gonna be talking for the next few minutes. So let's fire away here. Who do they have on the IDL? Arik Smith. I drafted Dominique Orange. You know what? Let's just take a role player and Sky Gill Howard. I haven't taken him yet, but he's gonna be a solid role player from wherever he ends up. Next, we have Jacksonville again. That's the second of their 3 7th round picks. And you know what? I've already taken that. You know what? I should have taken him, but that's fine. You know what? Let's take the guy that everybody thought he would be in this year's draft class for 5 years at this point. J. Michael Sturdivant. So let's take him. Texans. I've taken all your needs. Ooh, Nick Barrett and Caden McDonald. I really like that. You know what? Let's do that. Jacksonville again with their final 7th round pick. And is there anybody? I think I got the Colts. Yeah, I got the Colts, and then I got the 2 Colts ones. All right. So with this pick, I've taken running back already. Don't want to do that. Already taken tight end. Already taken wide receiver. You know what? Let's just take Vincent Anthony Jr. and just get an edge in the room. Now, with the Colts at 249 and 253, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. 254, excuse me. You know what? I've not drafted a running back for them yet, and I believe, yes, Russell Faison is on the board. He might be 26, but he's a really solid running back, so I'll take him here. He may only be here for 1 contract, but he's going to be really good during that 1 contract. And for the final pick in this mock, who do I draft? You know what? I completely forgot about him till now. Let's get a guard in the room for the Colts because Quentin Nelson is starting to get a bit older, and I'm not sure about the other spot on the offensive line. Actually, Goncalves starts. He's solid. So let's get some young blood in the room, and I think Josh Braun would make sense here. And yes, young blood means 24. So yeah, let's take him. And that is the end of the mock draft. Oh, you took Fanu. You guys ended up taking Fanu. Please tell us we didn't get fucked. Caleb Banks, damn it. Good God.
Wow, the Cowboys CBO.
Yeah.
Took Fano and Freeland.
You took 2 linemen. Oh, God. Good Lord. I mean, this is what I get for putting the sentence on Wild, so, I mean, there's that. So, yeah, who had the biggest drop and who had the big... Actually, I can't look that up. Freeland went up 7. Simpson went down by 12. 18 again. 19. 35? Oh, no, yeah, I took him early. That makes sense. Bud Clark went up super early. Super late. Kettleman, yeah, all right. That makes sense. All right, so thank you guys for watching this video. We really do appreciate it. Make sure you guys like and subscribe because we can't wait for the NFL draft. And yeah, we'll see y'all next week.